everybody. Hello. Happy Sunday. Today we are going to talk about how to get your best night's sleep ever. And I'm not talking about just the normal stuff that you often hear about, but what's actually rooted in science. So I'll let you guys start coming on. Hello. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for your patience with this. I'll let you guys come on a little bit more. Because for those of you who follow me, you know, like I'm in a bit of a crisis mode right now. So it's not great, but you know, I thought about this for a while in terms of like yesterday I had to cancel the live show. And that was a really hard thing to do because I haven't missed a Saturday show since I started doing this over a year ago, well over a year ago. In fact, I think it was a year ago in November or December or something. So yeah, so it's been a lot, you know, as a mom. As a mom, it's like, you know, there's that saying that says you're only as happy as your unhappiest kid. And that is true for your kid's health and your kid's well-being and all of that as well. And I've got a kid that's not doing great right now. So I am in a bit of a crisis mode as a mom. I have four adult children over the age of 23. So I can't really go into detail about it, but it's a lot. So if you missed that live show I did on stress, just somebody take down that person's handle so I can block them, the person who's being inappropriate. If you missed that last week show that I did on stress, make sure you check that out because I am a health coach that continues to learn and I walk my talk. So for those of you who were concerned about me, who saw my story yesterday, having to postpone the live to today, and then again having to move it from 11 to now 12:45, just know that I practice what I preach here. So if you missed that live show on stress reduction, I've been doing that physiological sigh. I probably did the physiological sigh 20 times yesterday. That's that sigh where you breathe in double, like, and then you have a long exhale, right? So I've been doing all of those types of things that I needed to de-stress. And sleep is one of those things that is a major conundrum because when you're stressed out, you don't sleep well. And when you don't sleep well, it increases your cortisol levels, that stress hormone, and you become more stressed out. Thank you for all the well wishes, Skippo11. Thank you so much. I'm in the thick of it. I'm not even close to done. I'm in the thick of it as a mom. So it's been rough. It's been rough, I have to say. But that said, you know, I thought about it again this morning and I thought, what would I want in a health coach, right? Because we're all going to go through shit in life. It's true. Like, life is not a fairy tale where everything ends up being perfectly the way that you planned it and everybody that you love is healthy and happy. And I mean, that happens in Disney movies, but that's not real life. And so as a health coach, I would like to think that you have a health coach that you can depend on that will give you the tools to get through life's crap that throws at you, helps you de-stress, helps you sleep better, but also has the perseverance to put into action the tools that I preach to you guys, right? So that I can take care of myself. No, parenthood is not easy, especially when they're older and you have no control. Right? You can't make a 23 to 29-year-old kids do what you want them to do, even if it's for their own good. So that's hard. But as a health coach, to be able to handle that and still show up and be able to put into practice these tools that I share with you, I think is super important, right? Perseverance, grit, is super important. There's some shit in life where there is no cure, and that is the truth. And so how do we walk through that in a way that is the most self-love and caring way that we can do it, but also using science to better help us be able to handle these things. And that's where I come in. So we're going to talk about sleep today. And I have no idea. Let's just pretend I started at 12:45, so I'll try to give this an hour. But let's just talk about sleep. So as you can imagine, my sleep has not been great. But that said, it's been way better than what you would think it would be under the circumstances that I'm going through, because I put these tools into practice. So how do we get our best night's sleep? And this is that getting that recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Because anything less than that, you kind of end up being a little grumpy, a little groggy, and then your whole life ends up, somebody just said, I'll tell you how, you just need to go through it. There's no shortcut. Somebody sent me a meme the other day, and by the way, thank you for that, Ty Gallons. Thank you for that, because, and Linda, thank you for that as well, because somebody sent me a meme the other day, my cousin actually, who lost her son. So talk about, there's no worse thing than that. But she sent me this meme of this woman standing at a forest, and then there was, you know, all of these trees, and it's like, there's no way but through it. There's no way but through it. And I'm going to tell you right now, for those of you who, and we're going to get to waking up in the middle of the night. I know I'm going to have a lot of questions. I totally forgot what I said. My brain is not going to be 100% working at its maximum potential today because of this other thing that I'm going through. But there was this meme sent to me by my cousin who lost her son, and it said, the only way to get through is through. That is absolutely true. And that's when I call on all of the tools that I've learned to handle stress. So, you know, there's not just one way. It's not just that physiological sigh. That's the quickest way, because we can use our diaphragm, right? That's the one thing we can control in the autonomic nervous system. For those of you who saw that lecture that I did on stress reduction, the good stress and the bad stress, it was a 2-part series. So make sure you check that out. It is posted in my feed. But I was calling on all of the tools that I have for stress, right? I was lighting the stress candle. I was listening to like the 432 megahertz sound that de-stresses. I did exercise. I like all of the things. I was eating great. All of the things that you should be doing, you compound those. And that's how you deal with how I deal with a lot of different stuff with skin, right? Through microneedling, through radio frequency, a lot of different modalities. Through stress, through the physiological sigh, through getting enough sleep, through sense, through the sounds, through widening the eyes. There's a lot of those tricks that I gave you on how to de-stress and how to combat that chronic stress, right? The same thing is true for sleep. You can't just pop a melatonin supplement and think that you're going to get the best night's sleep ever. It doesn't work that way. Our bodies don't work that way. So let's get right into it. Why is sleep so important? It's kind of the cornerstone for all of our physical and mental health. So that's part of it, but it's physical performance as well. So sleep deprivation can cause you to be off balance. It increases your risk of falling. It increases accidents. So all like major airplane crashes and Chernobyl, for that matter, these kind of disasters that have happened, there's sleep deprivation that has been tied to this. So it's not just I'm going to feel groggy, but you're not performing the way that you used to. Somebody said, can you please explain the physiological sigh? I'm going to do that right now for you, just because to begin this lecture on why sleep is so important and give you those tools. Let me just de-stress for a little bit. So you can join me if you want. We're going to do 2 inhales, an inhale, a quick inhale, and then a longer exhale. That's the physiological sigh. And I showed that on the live I did on stress reduction, but I'm just going to do that for myself, for a little self-care and self-love right now. So if you are out there and you kind of feel that, you know, you have a little bit of that stress level kind of building up a little bit, or even if you don't, if you just want to like kickstart that parasympathetic nervous system in that rest and digest to kind of reduce that cortisol levels, we can do that physiological sigh right now. So I'm going to inhale again, exhale. Here it goes. I'm going to do it one more time. That is the quickest way known to science thus far that reduces your stress in real time. The reason is because when you extend your exhales, it has a direct link to signaling your brain that you need to slow down your heart rate. And I went over that in terms of a large heart and a small heart and all of that stuff and what happens with us in our bodies when our diaphragm moves up and down. So make sure you catch that live show that I did. It is posted in the feed. It's on stress reduction, and there's a 2-part series. Okay, so why is it so important? It's not just how we feel, but it affects everything. Everything about our body is interconnected, right? So physical performance and balance, your mood, you can be quick-tempered, you can be what I call crying tired. I grew up with that term, crying tired, and that's when you're so tired that you're emotionally raw and you kind of tend to cry a little bit more easily. I'm in that kind of mode right now. So there is that thing where it makes your mood, it changes your mood. It can lead to anxiety and depression, especially chronic sleep deprivation and stress. We talked about this, what the body does. Our body does not differentiate between the stress of us running from a tiger and the stress of us being the stress that we put on our bodies through sleep deprivation. It still does the same thing. It raises those cortisol levels, okay? The cortisol levels then signal the brain again, that then signal adrenaline. It increases your heart rate and your breathing. So all of that, your stress is very, very deeply affected by how tired your overall body is. If that makes sense, okay? So sleep deprivation still raises cortisol hormones. That's our stress hormones. I'm going to repeat that. Sleep deprivation raises our cortisol hormones, that chronic set point of cortisol hormones. So we talked about what all of the different things that happen when our body goes through stress. All of those things are true as well then with sleep deprivation, right? It does affect your skin. So back to the stress. So it's a catch-22, like I said earlier, because we need sleep to be able to handle stress better. And when we're stressed, we need sleep. But like I said, but it's more difficult to sleep when you're stressed. So all of these are kind of interlinked. And so that's why you need more than one avenue to address your stress. Just like we use more than one avenue to combat stress. We used our olfactory, used our hearing, we used our breathing. We did a lot of different stuff when it came with stress. It's the same thing when it comes with sleep. Okay, so we have to use a lot of different modalities in order to get the best night's sleep. Hey, Sarah. So your skin health. Yeah, your skin is your largest organ. And if you don't think that your skin is affected by anything else that you do, I can tell you right now, skin is affected by stress. Skin is affected by lack of sleep, okay? So everything is connected. A weakened immune system, wound healing. You will not, my God, let me get my tongue in here. You will not heal as quickly from wounds if you're sleep deprived. Your body's also less equipped to fight off the just common flus and colds and anything like that. I'm not doing great today, but I'm holding in. Thanks so much. I'm holding up. So we're less equipped to fight off cold and germs and all of that other stuff that our bodies normally would be able to fight off. Memory and mental abilities. Have you ever been so tired or sleep deprived that you're like, my brain is not working properly right now? I'm in that mode, and I have been for the last couple of days. And so I thought, man, this is a great time to talk about stress and a great time to talk about sleep, because I'm a health coach that is walking the talk. So I'm doing all of this stuff. And so that's why I want to share it with you, because it's not just one avenue. We're going to get to supplements that help with sleep. We're going to get to temperature and darkness and all of that crap. But I want to also tell you, not only does it hinder a lack of sleep, hinder creativity, it hinders problem solving, it hinders concentration, all of that stuff, long-term and short-term memory are affected by sleep, but also poor lifestyle choices. So when you're tired, are you reaching for broccoli? my friends? No, we're usually not, right? We want the feel-good stuff. We reach for sugars, we reach for carbs, we reach for highly processed stuff. We're making poor lifestyle choices when we're sleep deprived. Weight gain, this is what leads to weight gain. And not only that, but a lack of sleep actually affects the release of insulin, and it increases your body mass. And it increases your likelihood of type 2 diabetes. So all of these go up with sleep deprivation. It's insane. But like I said, when we're sleep deprived, we might not even know we're sleep deprived, but when we're sleep deprived, we're not reaching for kale or celery. I'm so tired, I'm gonna have a kale salad. No, we're reaching for that comfort food. So if you think that by being chronically sleep deprived that you are not adding to your waistline right along with stress, you are, okay? Cardiovascular health, sleep deprivation has been linked to higher blood pressure, as well as higher cortisol levels, the stress hormone, which we talked about. And remember, it causes inflammation in the body. Cortisol levels that are too high cause inflammation in the body, which is the root cause of all age-related and chronic diseases. So all of this is connected, you guys. So it does increase your risk of heart disease. Lack of sleep increases your risk of heart disease, along with making you gain weight, along with increasing your risk of type 2 diabetes, along with screwing up your metabolic health. A lot of things can happen when we're sleep deprived. So it's super, super, super important. Your hormonal health. If you're sleep deprived, it is interfering. If you're not getting at least 3 hours straight sleep, it's already interfering with your hormonal production. And that can really affect your libido. Even in women, we have testosterone. We have more testosterone than we have estrogen. If you missed that live show that I did on hormone replacement therapy, if you missed that live show I did on hormone replacement therapy, make sure that you check that out. I did a couple of them. The one that I can think of offhand was with Dr. Barbara Taylor. And so make sure that you check that out, because optimizing your hormones is going to help you sleep better. But not only that, it's going to help your libido a little bit as well. So a lot of sleep disorders, sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, insomnia, menopausal sleep disorders, hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia. These are all part of menopause, right? So these tools that I'm going to give you are going to work on those avenues as well. So here's the tips and tricks when it comes to getting your best night think. And you would think that I'd want to start with, like, let's create a sleep sanctuary, which in the past, when I've done some content on this years and years ago, that's how I started, which was, let's make sure that the lights are dim and the room is cool and you've got your eye mask on and you love your bed and you're comfortable in your mattress and you love your room and you've got soft sheets, all of this stuff. And all of that stuff is important, okay? I'm not going to say that that's not important. Limiting your screen time, it's important. All of that stuff. But there's stuff that you can do from the time you wake up that changes how you sleep at night. There's things that you can do from the moment you wake up that changes how you sleep at night. And that's where I'm going to start today. It's kind of like, the only reason I'm saying this is because I'm sleep deprived, but I'm going to say it anyways. For us women, you know that oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Whatever. I think of sleep like foreplay, right? Your foreplay with your husband or your boyfriend or whoever, it doesn't start like 1 minute before you're having sex. It starts in the morning with them unloading the dishwasher. Am I right? Does that not, that whole act of like helping me, bringing me tea in the morning, that's when I fall in love with my husband all over again. Like, it starts from the morning, right? So there's things that you can do. Oh my God. There's things that you can do that you wake up and start doing. And it's all day long that you do these little things. Hi, Poland. You do these little things all day long, which I'm going to talk about. And if you can equate that with, I shouldn't get ready for bed right before sleep. Because you don't get ready, a woman doesn't get ready for sex right before sex, right? That's just, our bodies don't work that way. Sleep is the same way. The moment you wake up is getting affected by how you sleep that night. Let's start with the morning, Creative Eye Candy. Let's start with the morning. Early morning light, okay? I started doing this probably a year ago, and I'm telling you, it changed how quickly I want to go to bed. It changed how early I start feeling sleepy. And so diffuse, very bright light, not indoors, not the lights coming off of my makeup mirror here, but sunlight is super, super important because it does a lot of things. It triggers metabolism. It energizes the brain and body. It suppresses melatonin. Melatonin is that sleep hormone we have. So when we get light in our eyes, again, not artificial light, but sunlight in our eyes, it suppresses melatonin. And it also, so this assists with that ability to fall asleep and stay asleep that following night. So when I woke up this morning, the first thing I did within 30 minutes is I took my tea outside to my balcony and I opened my eyes in the light. It doesn't mean you look directly at the sun, but you can look towards the sun. So in other words, the sun is low in the day, right? Low in the morning. I'm not talking about overhead sunlight, but low in the morning sun that hits your eyes, and you can look towards the light and blink if you need to. You don't want to ever look at the light where it's going to be painful. But this is like a way that affects our natural circadian rhythm, that internal sleep-wake clock. Okay? So on the flip side of that, think about it, the absence of light light on the low horizon triggers the production of melatonin. So if we're looking at diffuse light like sunlight, this is really important. If we're looking at diffuse light like sunlight early in the morning, it stands to reason, and that is suppressing our melatonin, it stands to reason that the absence of light increases melatonin production. Does everybody get that? That seems like pretty logical, right? So what do? You get outside as soon as possible after waking. When the sun is low in the sky for about 10 minutes. For about 10 minutes is what I do. And I'm like, I widen my eyes. It's going to look kind of crazy, but welcome to the show. I widen my eyes. I look around. I glance up a little bit towards the sun, but not directly right in my eyeball, but kind of keep my eyes like this. You have receptors in the bottom of your eyelids. You have receptors in the bottom of your eyelids and in our eyes. And blinking is okay, but you want to get at least 10 minutes of light exposure. And if it's a cloudy day, or if you live in a place where, like San Francisco or Seattle, it's always raining or it's cloudy, 30 to 45 minutes, you're still getting a lot of light through the clouds, okay? But this is what's going to help you get tired earlier because it's signaling to your brain, it's morning time. It's morning. The light is up. It's morning. Okay? So look towards the sun, wide-eyed, blinking is okay. You have these photosensitive ganglion cells in the eyes that increase cortisol levels. Now, we talked about stress and cortisol levels in my last live show, right? That we wanted to suppress cortisol because cortisol is that stress hormone, and too much cortisol triggers that whole HPA the HPA axis, which is the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, adrenal glands that get us moving and going when we're stressed. A little bit of cortisol is good because it wakes us up, and the sunlight in the morning is what triggers that. When we're talking about stress and we talk about the stress hormone cortisol, we're talking more of it as the chronic stress. So go back and listen to that live show I did on stress, because it's the same hormone. Again, these hormones work in our advantage, and too much is a disadvantage. But we need to be able to have cortisol stimulated in the morning so that we actually can get our asses out of bed, right? That's the thing that gets us moving, is the cortisol in the morning. So, okay, where was I? So look towards the sun. You've got these photosensitive ganglion cells. They will suppress melatonin. So those the light hitting the eyes suppresses the melatonin production. Your body will feel more alert. It'll feel more energized. So usually what you would try to do is 60 minutes after waking, So I used to like drink all of my tea in bed and just open up the shades. It doesn't work through a window. It's not the same thing as turning on your overhead lights in your house. It's not the same thing. If you can get outside within 60 minutes of waking up and get your eyes in the sun, you're going to change the way you sleep that night. You're going to change if you do nothing else. If you do, and I'm going to give you a lot of other stuff to do, but if you do nothing else, if you want to change your sleep-wake cycle, get outside, not through a window, get outside, put your eyes in the sun for at least 10 minutes. If it's cloudy or rainy or whatever, 30 to 45 minutes, it's going to change how you sleep at night. It helps set that timer for your body to fall asleep a little bit earlier. Okay, artificial light is not bright enough to affect cortisol levels. So even if you wake up and you're like, boom, hit on all the overhead lights, it's not bright enough. It's not the same as sunlight. It's not bright enough to affect your cortisol levels. So the artificial lights, however, and this is how the world works, which is very bizarre to me and also fascinating. Lights, overhead lights, or the lights from my vanity that I'm sitting at, they're not strong enough to kickstart cortisol production in the morning to wake us up, but they are strong enough to really mess up our melatonin production at night. I'm going to say that again. The effect of overhead lights and your indoor lights has a different effect on your sleep-wake cycle than what you would think. Turning on overhead lights does not help us wake us up in the morning in terms of stimulating cortisol levels. That you can only get from diffuse light in the sun. But at nighttime, if you kick on an overhead light or you get up to go to the bathroom and you turn on a light, you're really messing up your melatonin production. You're really messing up your melatonin production. Okay. So even the small amount of artificial light will keep you awake at night. Even the small amount, your TV, looking at your phone, hitting a light when you go to the bathroom, that will really mess up your cortisol levels. So if you live in a place without sunlight, you might need a sunlight stimulator. These can be super expensive. They're those SAD lights, right? The seasonal affective disorder lights, so SAD lights, that kind of help to simulate sunlight, but they're just not as effective as sunlight. So if you can get outdoors, get outdoors. Okay, so the sun, just so you get an idea, artificial light, they measure it in terms of lux, and I don't want to really get into that, but artificial light has 10,000 lux, sunlight has 100,000 lux. Very different. If you want to measure what kind of light you're receiving, either from like a balcony or from a window, again, windows are not going to be the thing that's going to help. You want to get outdoors. You want to get outdoors even for 10 minutes. Grab your tea, grab your coffee, but we're going to talk about caffeine too, and get outdoors and kind of open your eyes for at least 10 minutes. Okay, there's a light meter app too. It's called Light Meter LM3000. It's a free app that you can download to your phone, absolutely free. Light Meter LM3000 is the one that I use, and it tells you how much brightness is in your environment. All right, let's talk about temperature, because for all my hot and flashy friends out there who are in menopause, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's when that internal body core starts shifting that all of a sudden our sleep gets really messed up, really, really messed up, and it can affect, like we talked about earlier, literally everything, okay? So as we're sleeping, this is what happens when we go to sleep. There's an increase in our body core temperature when we're waking up. So let's say it's the morning time and our core temperature starts heating up. That's really what wakes us up, which is why if you're menopausal and you're having hot flashes or night sweats, your core temperature is heating up, because that's a side effect of estrogen deficiency, which happens in menopause. That it will, when you're in menopause, you get hot flashes and night sweats, and it heats up your core temperature. That's why you're waking up in the middle of the night. So how do we manipulate temperature throughout the day? How do we manipulate temperature? We just figured out how to manipulate the light. How do we manipulate temperature? And let me just say this about the light too. Sometimes you can't just walk around in the dark, right? You can't walk around with candlelight, but you can light candles. You can turn off your overhead lights and use lamps that where the light is more on the horizon. So artificial light that is more like a lamp, a table lamp, or a floor lamp is going to be a lot better than an overhead light, because overhead lights are going to simulate the sun is up above, right? Doesn't work the same in the morning to stimulate cortisol, but it does work like that from midday on. So from midday on, when the sun starts going down, turn off your overhead lights and start using lamps or candles or low lights. We have a fireplace now in this new home, and we've been using the fireplace a lot to light the area where we're watching TV, so we don't have any lights on. And again, we're going to talk about screen times. Looks like you have shorter hair. No, it's curled. It's just, and I have a higher ponytail today. Anyways, let's get back to heat. Okay, so we can manipulate our heat and our temperature, our hot, cold temperature that's going to influence how we sleep. And so if we get into a cold, I'm going to explain all this. If we get into a cold shower or an ice bath upon waking, let's think about what happens. Our body thinks it's stressed out, right? But we can do our breathing. I talked about those 2-mode breathing where you like have that short exhale, focusing on the exhale. It helps, even though our body's freezing, it kickstarts our adrenal gland. It kickstarts that cortisol, which is going to wake us up. The cortisol kicks the adrenal gland. It makes us want to breathe. It makes us want to move. You get in an ice bath, and what happens? You don't actually get colder. Your body temperature, because it's a signal to the brain that signals the brain, wait a second, we're in freezing cold water right now. We need to start warming up. So at the center of our core starts warming. So it wakes you up more. So not only do you have adrenaline going for a short period of time, 2 to 3 minutes is all you need, you guys. I am in a cold bath every morning, unless I'm under chronic stress. So I didn't do it today. You got to listen to your body. If you're under chronic stress and you know that you're not in your normal pattern of stress, it's not something that I do under those circumstances. So I did not do that today. But normally what would happen is when you jump into a freezing cold bath, and you guys, it doesn't have to be a frozen lake, okay? The bathtub water comes out around 50 to 60 degrees. That is plenty cold enough. You only need to be in there for 2 to 3 minutes. I'm in there for 2 minutes and 38 seconds. Do you know why I know this? Because that's the length of the Rocky theme song. So however you have to get in there, just know that by doing that early in the day, you're going to kickstart those cortisol levels. You're going to kickstart those adrenals. You're going to warm up your core temperature. And by warming up your core temperature, because we're always looking for that homeostasis, by warming up that core temperature, you're waking yourself up even more. So what does that do? You've shifted your cycle a little earlier. You've got light on your eyes. You've now warmed up your core temperature even more. And now it's going to make you more tired when it gets a little bit later. Okay, does that make sense? So yes, it increases your adrenaline. It wakes you up. It kickstarts the heat in your body, and your brain acts as that thermostat. So it heats up the core temperature, and it increases that core temperature faster because it's combating the cold water on you. Does that make sense, everybody? Are you getting that? So remember, an increase in core temperature wakes you up. A cold plunge will wake you up. It will increase your core temperature. A decrease in core temperature calms you down. So taking a bath at night, a 20 to 30 minute bath at night, actually helps cool your core temperature, because we're always looking for homeostasis. Our bodies are freaking amazing the way that they work. We're always looking for homeostasis. So when you want to calm down at night, you take a 20 to 30 minute soak or a sauna, not more than that because you don't want to increase stress levels, but you take a sauna or a jacuzzi or a warm bath, and then what that does is it tricks your brain into decreasing your core temperature by 1 to 3%, which is great for sleep. So we want to decrease, definitely a night shower. A warm shower helps as well at night. So cold in the morning and warm at night. It's counterintuitive. You think a hot shower at night is going to warm me up. It doesn't. It actually increases your core temperature. It decreases your core temperature, which is more inducive for sleep. Freezing cold shower in the morning, what that does is it increases your core temperature, which is better for wakefulness. Okay, so that's how we use temperature to trick our body into creating a sleep-wake cycle that is going to be more healthy. Does that make sense, everybody? So in a perfect 24 cycle, our body temperature is increasing normally. So if we've taken a freezing cold shower in the morning, we've increased our temperature and we're awake. And then when it gets later at night, we want to decrease that temperature. Okay. Sleeping environment. Yeah, so you want your sleeping environment to be colder by 3 degrees. And that's in all of the typical stuff, right? You want to sleep in a cold room. You want the outside temperature to be colder than what it is in your sheets. I personally, and all my menopausal women out there, you might really enjoy this tip because I'm telling you, it's been a game changer for me. I switched to a cooling mattress. And I'm not talking about, this comforter feels cool to the touch. No, I'm talking about something you plug in the wall that goes on your mattress. So I have 2 things on my mattress. I have a cooling temperature thing by Uhler. I don't have any affiliate for that, but I probably will reach out to them and see if I can save you guys some money. But it's called Uhler, and I think it's by Chili. I think that's the brand name. It goes on your mattress. You fill this container with water that goes under your bed, and it pumps cool water throughout your mattress while you're sleeping. So I set that, I have it cool down before I get into bed, so that helps with the cool body temperature as well. And then you can program it to heat up at certain times so that you wake up naturally. And yes, creative eye candy, the second thing I have on my mattress pad is a grounding pad. So I've got 2 things. I've got the Uhler that goes right on top of the mattress, and then I have a grounding mattress pad that goes right on top of that so that my cortisol levels are reducing while I sleep. And my core temperature is staying at a cooler temperature than the air. So those 2 things when it comes to temperature, my husband does go along with this. He's got his own because everybody wants to sleep cooler. That's part of why, have you ever got hot in the middle of the night and all of a sudden, you stick a leg out or your arms out or all of a sudden your arms are above the covers because we've got sensors in our hands and our feet that are more sensitive to the cooling air. So that's why we stick our feet out. If you get so hot, you'll put a leg on top. There's a reason for that. Your body's trying to cool itself down so it can sleep better. So the cooling and heating mattress pad, I think also helps. And if you guys saw that show that I did on stress, yes, hot, cold, yes. If you saw the thing that I did on stress, the grounding mattress pad is a game changer as well. Because like I said, it's all connected. Cortisol levels being elevated in chronic stress. Get a grounding mattress pad you plug into the wall. It can fit any bed. I have these on my Amazon store and their storefront, and they're not that expensive. Skippo, you're always hot. I'm telling you, these are the things for my menopausal women or those that don't even know if they're menopausal yet, you're having fluctuations in hormones, that can get you to where your core body temperature heats up in the middle of the night. If your core body temperature heats up in the middle of the night, we just learned, it's going to wake you up. So having a mattress pad, and you can even time these mattress pads to where at certain points when you know your body temperature is going to be at its highest in the middle of your sleep-wake cycle, you can program these kind of cooling mattresses to go a little bit cooler during that time. and then wake you up with some warmth in the thing. You'll never need to use an alarm clock again. So all of this using temperature to regulate your sleep-wake cycle, it's very, very powerful. Can you tell us the switch ground blanket? I'm not sure what that meant. The slip ground. Oh, the switch ground blanket that you have. The one that I have, I can tell you the two things that I have. The one that I have is by Chili. It's called Uller. And I set that sucker at like 66 to go to sleep, sometimes 68. I run a little bit cooler than my husband. I mean, a little bit warmer, than my husband. No, I run cooler than my husband. So I have mine like on 68. His is on low, which I think is 64. But I put mine on 68 and then I put it down to 66 midnight, like around, I say mid sleep cycle, like around 3 a.m. And then I warm it up gradually, starting around 6:30 or 7, but I usually tend to wake up around 6:30. Okay, so that's the cooling temperature. So now we've tackled the light, right? Getting the light in our eyes, as well as what not to do at night, in terms of, what if you can do like a red light, if you can do a red light night light, that is going to be something that you should have plugged in the bathroom if you get up to go to the bathroom, so that you're not having to turn on a light. Red light does not really affect the sleep-wake cycle because it's a different wavelength, right? We're talking about like the fluorescent, ultraviolet lights, the overhead lights, and we're talking sunlight, but red light does not have that same effect in terms of waking you up when you go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Okay, we're going to talk about movement now. Like I said, what you do all through the day, think about it as like women's foreplay. Sleep has this foreplay. You have to address it all through the day to get your best night's sleep. Sebastian, come on. To get your best night's sleep, right? So we talked about light hitting your eyes. We talked about the temperature and how to use that tool to regulate your temperature so that you are more alert or you're more prone to go to sleep. Let's talk about exercise, because exercise increases your body temperature. It increases your core body temperature and it makes us more alert. So for those that have always asked me, why do I exercise first thing in the morning? This is why. I will have my tea, I will have light on my eyes, I will take a freezing cold shower, I will exercise. And the reason is because I don't want to push that later on in the day, because it's going to heat up my core temperature and it's going to screw up what my sleep-wake cycle normally would be. Okay, so for me, I exercise in the morning. I do it on an empty stomach. But if you can, even if it's not your main exercise, even if you know, like, I really love my 2 o'clock yoga class and there's no way I'm giving that up, fine. Don't give that up. I never want to say like, don't exercise. However you have to get it in, get movement in, right? But that said, you can also kickstart that whole, when am I supposed to be awake and when am I supposed to be asleep, by exercising first thing in the morning. So if it means you've got light in your eyes, you just get out of a freezing cold shower, do 100 jumping jacks, 50 jumping jacks, do some push-ups. You can still do your workout later on in the day, but getting that heart rate pumping. And listen, I'm going to tell you, when I take a cold bath, when I take my ice bath, my Aura Ring tracks it as exercise because my heart rate gets up that far and I'm breathing. I'm breathing through it, right? So it tracks it as exercise. That's part of the benefit of that cold exposure in the morning. So it's not just heating up your core temperature, which is counterintuitive. It's not just heating up your core temperature. It's not just helping you with exhale. It's not just helping you with that, but it's also helping you, with a bit of increasing circulation, increasing your heart rate, much like you do when you exercise. If that's not in your wheelhouse and you're like, there's no way I'm going to do that, I would still say try it once. Try it once. And when you do it, don't pussyfoot around it. Like, well, I don't really know if that was the right term. The first time I tried to do a cold plunge at home, just with my bathtub at 50 degrees, you put your toe in. Don't do that. Get psyched out. Just psyched up, Get psyched up. Turn on the Rocky theme song. Get in, up to here, one swoop. Breathe through it for 30 seconds, and after 30 seconds, you will see that you're used to the water. The parasympathetic nervous system has come down and calmed and slowed down your breath. Okay? So within 3 hours of waking, though, if you're not somebody who does a cold plunge, within 3 hours of waking is when you really should try to get in that morning exercise. Okay? So now let's talk about food. Food is so important. It's always so important. All of it's so important, but food especially is so important. And I want to talk about caffeine because there's this molecule called adenosine, the enzyme that builds up in the brain and body, and that's what makes us sleepy. When we drink caffeine, it is an adenosine antagonist, okay? So it prevents the buildup of adenosine. That's why it wakes us up. It's an adenosine antagonist that wakes us up because it prevents that buildup. That's why in the morning we reach for that cup of joe or that, the green tea like I do, because we're wanting that caffeine to prevent that buildup and flush out all of that adenosine so that we're more alert. But here's a trick. If you can opt for, instead of doing a shot of espresso, if you can opt to kind of push your caffeine in the morning off by a couple of hours. I know. Coffee and a cigarette, Christine. Oh my gosh. We got to talk. People are going to be at all different levels here and different areas where you're on your healthy aging path. And not everybody is going to already have all this stuff. It's okay, Christine. Not everybody is going to have all of this stuff down where you're like, I got light on my eyes this morning. I pushed off a little caffeine. I jumped in a freezing cold bath. I did 100 jumping jacks. I do realize that this is new to a lot of people, and that's okay. Once you learn the information, you already know the why. And the why is, if you can understand the why sleep is so important, you're going to be a lot more likely to implement these tools that I'm teaching you. If nothing else, you guys, like I said, for the stress relief, if nothing else, you do that physiological sigh, because that will take your stress level down immediately, within 30 seconds of doing it. If nothing else, get outside in the morning and get the light exposure, the low level light exposure in your eyes, okay? You can blink, you don't have to stare right at the sun, but get outside and get that light. If you do nothing else, Christina, then tell me how that works. Then we can work on the next thing. You can build on these. You don't have to try everything at once, because you might just go like, what? She's crazy. I'm not doing all that. I'm telling you it works though. Okay, so we're back on food. If you can delay your caffeine intake for about an hour and a half after you wake up, you're going to reset that kind of clock, okay? So if you can limit your caffeine, don't have caffeine after 2 or 3 p.m., because remember, it's going to mess up with the adenosine in your body. If you have caffeine, and you know what I mean. Thanks, Christine. If you have caffeine in your body, you're not going to have that ability to let that adenosine build up to where you get sleepy. So I wouldn't do caffeine after 2 or 3. Some people, after 4 o'clock, it can really, really disrupt your sleep. Creative Eye Candy said, you are crazy good. Listen, I wouldn't be a health coach coaching this stuff if I wasn't doing it myself. My husband this morning said, are you going to do your live or not? And I said, of course I'm going to do it. I don't know if I can get on there at 11 because there was some shit that happened this morning. I don't know if I can get on there at 11, but I'm going to do it. And he said, why don't you just jump in your cold bath and go on with it? And I said, I'm not at my chronic stress right now due to my family situation is not at a level where that is a controlled stress that I should add. So I didn't do it this morning. But for the most part, I would say 5, maybe 6 days a week, I am up in the morning, eyes out in the sunlight, jumping in a freezing cold bath, doing an exercise first thing on an empty stomach. This is my life. And we use red light bulbs in the bedroom so that we're not overhead light. When I wake up in the morning, when I'm going to bed at night, I'm not like, oh my God, I've got all of this light. We've really tried to make it to where the lights that we have are either sconces that we use at night, or lamps that we use at night, or red light bulbs, because the last thing you want to do is go up from the family room, turn on your lights to get ready for bed, and then you have to start all over. So utilizing that light is super important. Okay, so when you eat can also make a big difference, right? If you're having high sugar stuff late at night, your body just know that is also stress. If you don't think that highly processed food is stressful on your body, we got to go back to some of the earlier lives that I did, because our body does not distinguish between the stress of having processed food in your body and all of this sugar and insulin overload and all of that stuff. You're the same kind of physiological processes happen from over exercising or running a marathon as it does from sleep deprivation. It's still the same physiological processes, okay? So if you're up having a late night snack that consists of, a pint of ice cream, it's gonna affect your sleep. Okay, so let's talk about another sleep disruptor, alcohol. I know, you guys, it's a big one. It is a big one. A lot of people don't want to give up their alcohol, and you don't have to unless you want to sleep well. Because although alcohol will make you sleepy at first, it is a giant disruptor in your sleep. It just really is. It's a giant disruptor in your sleep. There are like some edible forms of THC and CBD that people are doing these days. You'll have to really, I don't want to promote anything like that. It's not something that I do for sleep. But there is some research coming out. When I find out that research, I will pass that along to you. It's not something that I would recommend. The sleep supplements that I do recommend is a magnesium threonate. Magnesium threonate. It's super important where you're getting your magnesium, you guys. Because some crosses the blood-brain barrier, some doesn't, some's filled with toxins and fillers, some isn't. I literally just used my last bottle of my brand a couple of days ago, right at the wrong time. So I've had to order some more because I don't keep it in stock in my house. But this is my husband printed this for me. This is my brand. This is the Live Young Neuro Max. And this is a magnesium threonate, which supports cognitive health because it does go through the blood-brain barrier. Christina said, since summer 2020, I drink no alcohol at all. Good for you. And even before 2020, I wasn't drinking much alcohol. I kind of gave up alcohol. I don't want to say gave up, because it's not like I'm going to AA meetings or anything like that. But I realized as a health coach that I was being hypocritical in that I don't feel, with the new research that is coming out, that there is any amount of alcohol that is healthy for you. Zero. And I know that there's studies on people that live in blue zones, and there's studies on people who drink wine, and what they are finding out these days. And again, if there's new information coming out, I will share it with you guys. I am always learning. Always. I never stop learning. I'm about to start a menopause certification because I am dealing with a lot of midlife women. I'm 55 years old. I'm postmenopausal, like I've gone through it. I'm still on hormone replacement therapy, or I'm at the tail end of it anyways. But I'm always learning. And what the research coming out just now is that there's zero amount of alcohol that is actually healthy for you. It is a known toxin, and I hate to break that to you guys because I know that there was a lot of stuff saying, oh, a couple of glasses of wine, it'll help you live a bit longer, a drink at the end of the day, it reduces your stress. That is not what the new research is saying at all. And in fact, a lot of those studies have been biased, especially with the wine drinkers, because you have to be of a certain socioeconomic class in order to consume wine on a nightly basis. And I want you to think about that for a second. You have to be of a certain socioeconomic class in order to afford to drink wine every evening. And so which is it? Is it a higher socioeconomic class that is causing you to be healthier because you might have health insurance, because you might have access to more fruits and vegetables? Or is it actually the wine? And what the studies are showing is that those studies have been skewed based on who had access to have organic wine every night. There's a lot of confounding variables there. So you really want to have your best night's sleep ever, you got to give up the alcohol. That's just, there's no other way to say that, you guys. And I wish I could make it okay, because I love my cocktails. I'm telling you right now, I'm a cocktail girl. I love my wine. I love to cook and have a couple of glasses of wine, and I did everything else. Everything else was spot on. My diet was spot on. My exercise was spot on. My sleep, everything was spot on in terms of what I was doing for my body and my health, but I was still drinking. I'm telling you, you give up the alcohol, you're going to lose weight. You're going to sleep better. You're going to think better. Your thought process is going to be better. That's the science, and that's what's happened in my body. Okay, so in terms of sleep supplements, back to the sleep supplements, magnesium threonate. It literally needs to have threonate in it. If you guys do not have my a link to my own supplement line. This is my Ozempic shot. This one kind of mimics exactly what the Ozempic shot does. You can just DM me no shot for this. This was the latest package that I just came up with, which is berberine is in this. This is an incredible product. But I also have this incredible product called Neuromax because it helps with the neurons in the brain. And this is a magnesium threonate. So with magnesium threonate, some people can get a little bit of an upset stomach if you're taking too much of it. And what I tend to do is I do a magnesium threonate, and I'll do what did I do? Did I bring that in? Shoot. And I'll do an L-theanine, 200 milligrams of L-theanine. And what I've realized with this, so these are my every night, no matter what. Gosh. I hope this comes in the mail soon. I thought I had a spare bottle of this, and now I just had to order it a couple days ago, and I am needing it more than ever now. But I'm also afraid to just go buy something off the shelf because I know what crap is out there for supplements. Anyways, these are the two things that I am taking nightly. This is by the Vitamin Shop, but again, I'm trying to come up with my own one here because I want to make sure that I know what I'm putting in my body. But this is L-theanine. This is 200 milligrams. It promotes relaxation and stress support. So I'm liking this at night because what I've realized that it's helping with ruminating thoughts, which I have a lot of at night. What do I have to do? What's going on? What's happening with my kids? There's a lot of ruminating thoughts, and this kind of helps to turn it off. So this is the L-theanine, 200 milligrams. And then with the Neuromax, I forgot how many milligrams I normally take with this. It's 145 milligrams. Yeah, 145 milligrams is what I take with the magnesium. So magnesium as well as L-theanine really do help. These are the two supplements that I'm really loving. I'm about to try another one. And the other one that I'm about to try is apigenin. So if anybody has heard of apigenin or you've used apigenin, it's something that I just talked to my vitamin rep about. I want to start incorporating that. And what that does is it binds to the benzodiazepine receptors in the brain, and it can trigger muscle relaxation and sedation. So it lowers the stress-induced alterations in the brain, and it reverses the stress-related increase in the cortisol. So that's what apigenin does. I don't have something to show you. Again, it's something I'm going to be testing out that I'm going to be adding to these two products that I currently take, and I will keep you posted on that. If you want a link to my vitamin line, just you can go on my, for this one, you can just DM me no shot. And I know this doesn't have to do with sleep, but for the Ozempic no shot, for the Ozempic weight loss bundle, you can just DM me no shot. And then you can get the other vitamin line that way, or you can just DM me the word supplements. I think you can DM me the word supplements, and it'll give you the link to my homepage of the supplements. And you can also find that in my linked tree, you guys. And that's that link right, on my homepage. Okay, so those are the 3 supplements that the 2 supplements that I'm currently taking, with 1 more that I'm going to be introducing. I always suggest if you are not taking sleep supplements, don't start with all of them all at once, because you're never going to know what works. And don't put the supplements here. Carol Corbin, afterwards, when I post this to my main feed, then you can put in the message box, the comment section, just put supplements, and then it should automatically go to your DM. Okay, so that's where you want to put that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about melatonin. Let me take a little drink of my mushroom coffee first. Melatonin, I think, is so overprescribed. It's really effing with, I was almost at the F word. See, when you're sleep deprived, you say things that you wouldn't normally say too. Melatonin, I feel, is way overprescribed. Nobody needs to take more than 1 to 3 milligrams of melatonin. And for that matter, I don't take it anymore. I used to take it. I felt that it was masking what I really needed to work on, which was all the other sleep stuff. And it was not allowing my body to do what it's naturally supposed to do, right? If you think about that, if melatonin is our sleep hormone, why are we popping a pill to make our sleep hormone go up when we have all of these other ways that are way more effective? Now, the one time that I will use melatonin is if I am traveling and there is a giant time difference. Then I will bring out all the big guns. I will do the magnesium. I will do the magnesium threonate. I will bring the L-theanine. I will do both of these. I will also do melatonin, 1 to 3 milligrams only, a half hour before bed. But that's not something that I would recommend as creating your best sleep ever. Because really, it's just messing with your hormone there. And you want to mess with your hormones, and you want to mess with that sleep-wake cycle in a way that our body is supposed to be utilizing, right? We're supposed to, as human beings, see when the sun comes up, then the earth is warmed a little bit. Our bodies are made for this. They're made for this. But because we live in these homes with blackout drapes and, we're working from home much more. We're getting outside a lot less at the correct times. Everything has kind of gotten screwed up. And then you add to it, the world has kind of gone crazy at times. But every once in a while, if I'm jet lagged or something, not every day. Other ways that you can do, I have a valerian root tea that I love. I didn't bring it upstairs here, but valerian root, there's a lot of research on how valerian root can help induce sleepiness. So if you can do that in a tea, when I'm watching TV at night, I'll either do a chamomile. But if I'm already super sleepy, I'll do a chamomile. But if I know I'm amped up, I gotta relax a little bit here, I'll do that physiological sigh. I'll make sure all the lights are low. I only have lamps and stuff like that on. I'll take a warm bath. I'll do a valerian root tea. And that kind of helps to calm down as well. Okay, there's other things, eye masks. I wear an eye mask. If I get any light in my eyes during my sleep, I wake up. So I use an eye mask, but be careful when you use an eye mask and I think I have a link to an eye mask on my Amazon storefront too. So you guys can always go on my linked tree and you'll see the Amazon icon. You can click on that and there's a whole section of sleep. So I have skincare in one section. I have holistic health. I have exercise. I have sleep. And on the sleep section, the grounding mattress is in there. An eye patch is in there. There's another non-melatonin, I think called Sandland in there that helps you fall asleep and stay asleep. So there's some stuff in that Amazon storefront. So make sure that you check that out. And if I can get you a link to the cooling system for the mattress pad that not only cools your body temperature down, but warms it up to wake up naturally, I'll add that in as well. I might not be able to do that until tomorrow, but I'm going to try. It just kind of depends. Some people use earplugs because sound wakes them up. And some people, they find that to be disturbing. When I plug my ears, I can hear my heartbeat. And I have a little bit of an arrhythmia. I've had that since I was in high school, really, when I found out I had a tachycardia. So I have an irregular heartbeat. And so when I have earplugs in, I'm very aware of my heartbeat. And so that does not help me sleep. That does not help me sleep. So you have to, these other things, listen, the light on the eyes, that's a no-brainer. That is, I don't want to say that's a no-brainer. That is something that's the first line of defense. Just like that physiological sigh is the first line of defense to reduce your acute stress in real time. The light on the eyes in the morning, starting your day, thinking about how you're going to sleep at night. Start your day thinking about how you're going to sleep at night. Get out there, get the light on your eyes. That's the first line of defense. There's other things as well. For me, it's making sure I don't have any of those, any light coming in throughout the night. So I do use an eye mask. For some people, that can actually heat. If your eye mask is too big, you could heat up your forehead and that could wake you up. So we have to think about this, right? You don't want to cover your whole face this way, because if your forehead heats up, it's going to naturally wake you up because your core temperature is going to raise. So you have to be careful and make sure that your eye mask is not going to make you to where you're hot. So that's a trial and error kind of thing. Let's see. There's also some apps that help you with like guided meditation throughout the day. Some people can nap. Some people cannot nap. I'm not a napper. If I nap, my day is shot. The rest of my day is shot, and I can never really pull myself out of that energetically. And then if I try to pull myself out of it energetically from a nap, it screws up how I sleep at night. So I am not a napper, but I am somebody who midday, when I start to get tired, because remember, creating your best night's sleep ever is a full day process. It starts in the morning. So by midday, when people would normally go like, I'm dragging, I want to reach for a cup of coffee, that midday coffee, I'm telling you, if you want your best sleep, don't do it. Instead, you could do a guided meditation. There's a lot of different apps that do that. I know there's a Reverie app. They do a 7-day trial. Again, try this stuff out for free and see what works for you. But instead of reaching for that cup of coffee midday to give you that boost, do a guided meditation or a walking meditation, or just plain meditation, anything like that gives your body the rest it needs. Somebody just said, you're 2 shifts in a thing. I've been working 3 shifts, especially night shifts. Very difficult to find. You know what? That is absolutely true. I don't want to say this out loud, but I'm going to because I'm sleep deprived. I was almost hoping that somebody didn't say, like, what about night shift workers? Because that is a beast that is really, really difficult to tackle, especially if you're working 5 days a week at night and then you've got the weekend off or a couple days a week off and you're trying to get back into a normal, worldly, more worldly accepted sleep pattern, you're just going to be all over the place. So, my advice to that would be do the exact same thing except for the morning sunlight you would not be able to do. And that when you're supposed to be awake, that you're using those overhead lights, and when you're supposed to be sleeping, that you're using, in your case, you would be using natural light, preferably coming through windows that are closed, right? When you're supposed to be sleeping, night masks, all of that same stuff. But that's really, really difficult. The shift workers, it's really difficult. And somebody has to do it, and it's really sucks, because I would suggest get out as soon as you can for your health. You earn a lot of money in night shift, but you have to pay a price. That's exactly what I was just touching on, Christine, 1512. Yeah, yes, there's good and bad to that. But in terms of your health, there's no research that says shift workers have an increase in health. You pay a price for it. So whatever you have to do, Christina, all of it, do all of it. Do the stress relief. Go back and look at that the 2-part live show that I did on stress. That is going to be super, super important for you. And I want you to utilize all of these tactics. When it comes to skincare, I always say, like, if you had to do one thing, get the red light therapy mask. But if you really want your best skin ever, you want to do multiple modalities, right? You want to do dry brushing. You want to do red light therapy. You want to do microneedling. You want to do radio frequency. You want to do microcurrent. You want to have effective skincare. It's the same thing with stress reduction, right? And it's the same thing with sleep. It's not just one thing that's going to get you your best night's sleep. It's how cool is your mattress? How are you accommodating that fluctuation in temperature that happens through the night? Are you sticking your arm out? Are you sticking your foot out? Do you have a cooling mattress? How are you first thing addressing your sleep for the rest of the day? Are you getting your eyes in light? Is that something that you're doing? Are you exercising first thing? Are you taking a warm bath at night? Are you doing valerian root? Are you taking supplements an hour before you go to bed that could potentially help? Right? Are you taking supplements that could potentially help? You want to do all of it. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. This is the thing. Don't ever think that you can I'm going to lose sleep during the week and sleep in during the weekends. Your body doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. You can't catch up on sleep. You can't. You can be so exhausted that you sleep 9 hours one day, but that does not make up for the fact that you slept for 5 hours for 3 days in a row. Your body doesn't work that way. It's still going to raise that cortisol level, the stress hormone. It's still going to make you live shorter. It's still going to make you not as healthy. You can't catch up on sleep. Our body doesn't work that way. So there's a lot of other stuff that can also help trying to train yourself to breathe through your nose. And nostril breathing might be like a whole other subject that I do on breath work, because I do want to do a whole thing on breath work. But there's a lot of research that says improving cardiovascular health can happen if you're breathing through your nose. This breathing through your mouth and the sleep apnea and the snoring and all of that happens. To breathe through your nose at night is way better for your health. Way better for your health. You'll sleep deeper. You'll sleep longer. Your sleep apnea will be prevented. Snoring is prevented. You can start by taping your mouth. Sorry. Oh my God. You can start by if you have this problem, you can start by putting a little piece of tape, not Scotch tape, obviously, not packing tape, but the tape, like wound healing tape that you would put on a Band-Aid. Try a little piece of tape on your mouth and see if you can encourage yourself to breathe through your nose, because you will sleep deeper and you will have fewer disruptions if you can do that. Okay, is there anything else that I think I want to talk about? We want to create this, normally what our body wants to do is it wants to go to sleep when the sun starts going down, maybe a couple of hours after that. And it wants to start waking up when the sun comes up. That's what our bodies naturally are built to do. That's what we're built to do. So we can create this kind of cascade of, just like when we're doing stuff to our skin and we want to create a cascade of of collagen. We want to create a cascade of collagen when we're doing skincare treatments that more mimic how our skin was behaving when it was in its youth, right? Constantly growing, and collagen, elastin just keeps forming. And when we're doing stuff like microneedling, we're creating, and we're doing radio frequency, and we're doing retinoids and chemical peels, and we're doing it in a way that's very strategic in how we do it with my skincare protocol. You're creating a cascade effect, right, of that collagen and elastin. The same thing is true from the moment we wake up until we actually fall asleep. We want to create a cascade of natural hormones and natural bodily functions that happen. And that's how we get our best night's sleep ever. Okay, so do we think that we need a recap, or do we think that we kind of nailed this? Because I think we kind of nailed it. All right, anything else? Do you guys have anything else? That's all I got. Wow. Thank you guys for hanging in there with me. I'm going to post this to my main feed. I apologize for missing yesterday. It's the first live show I missed on a Saturday at 11 since I started this. I think a year and a half ago. It was about a year and a half ago I started doing that. A year and 3 months or something like that. That's the first show that I missed. So self-care, you know, for if you guys are out there and you're health coaches, like you gotta walk the talk. You gotta walk the talk. Keep learning so that we have new information, and take care of yourselves, because those people that follow you are gonna see if you're taking care of yourselves. Thank you so much. Take care of my family. Yeah, I need to right now. Okay, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'll see you Saturday, 11 a.m. for a whole new topic. And then I'll also see you Sunday where we'll do a demo of some sort of skincare thing. Thank you guys. Thanks for your support. Love you all.